Hey guys, I am PM, and along with me I have,
Searching for Rinoa.
And Vicious 1788. What's up,
and,
guys?
and together we are the Yappa Pies. What we're doing here is we're reviewing pay-per-views, wrestling pay-per-views.
Woo!
And the first one, we have a doozy for you. TNA Slammiversary, or Impact Wrestling. So, let's get this started off with the first match, which was for the TNA Championships, the TNA Tag Team Championships, the British Invasion versus Storm and Shelley.
So you had the British Invasion versus Gun Money. Is that what they call themselves?
I don't know if they'd call them that or the chat did. I kind of jumped in a little bit later on. I think I caught like the second half of this match.
Yeah, I caught the second half of this too.
I must say though that this match was probably one of the better matches on the card that night. Alex Shelley was an amazing replacement for Robert Roode. He held his own really well, even though the week before they lost a match against what they called I don't know, the freaking group with Hernandez and stuff. The Latin American Exchange part, version 2.
There you go.
But it was a good match. I must say it could have went either way, and they definitely hold. There was a lot of good spots. Really, really good match. Probably one of the best on the card that night. I was kind of upset there was no. Yeah, I was upset there's no Robert Roode in that match, but he had an injury. He was like, what he said, 90. He was almost 80 to 90% healed.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of sucked. But it was good to see him in a commentating position too.
Seeing this match and how they lost last week on a non-title match, I thought that they were going to lose the belts.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were going to say that they were going to lose it. They were going to lose it, and Robert Roode was going to turn heel and go single. We'll probably have a feud with James Storm. But of course, they held on to the tag team belts, and they held on to those belts really long.
Mm-hmm. Like, how long has it been going for now?
Oh, I don't know. When did they win it? Who they? They beat the Motor City Machine Guns to win the belts back in what? Oh, back when they did that whole Monday Night War thing, and they had them ever since.
Just so everybody knows, me and Rinoa don't follow TNA as much as Vicious does, so we're kind of out of the loop here. Like
I will say this:
mm-hmm.
When it comes to tag team wrestling, TNA has it.
Yeah,
well,
that's the one thing they have over WWE. Even though I'm a bigger WWE supporter than TNA, TNA knows how to build good tag teams, and this was an excellent match. This was an excellent opener.
Because let's face it, how many tag teams does WWE have? The Bella Twins and the Usos.
The Usos, yay! well, you have the Nexus. I mean, they're tag team champions, right?
Belts don't matter anymore.
Wait, one does. Only one.
Only one. Anyway.
Maybe two. Anyway.
So, what is the overall score that you would give for this tag team match?
I'd probably give it, probably give it 8 out of 10 for that match, because that was really well done.
I'd be right there with you about that.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.
I
solid work.
I just wish they put more into the story. I mean, that match was kind of announced, like, 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, so...
What I'm actually upset about this match was, it was the very first match. And
yeah.
you could have put a bunch of stuff in front of that, like, well, we'll get into that afterwards, but...
You'll see.
Yeah. Moving on to the next match, which was... We forgot.
Matt Morgan. Oh, I got it on Wikipedia just in case. Second match of the night. Wow, even I was wrong. Matt Morgan versus Scott Steiner in a singles match.
Which I'm still trying to figure out why Scott Steiner's still there. That guy is there for a paycheck only. Because it's the interesting thing with Scott Steiner when it comes to him, because he came back to the company feuding against Immortal. He was against Immortal. He's going to go back with Kurt Angle, but Kevin Nash and Booker T left, and the whole Main Event Mafia story angle just flopped. And that's why they made Fortune the They Part 2. was supposed to be Kevin Nash, Booker T, Kurt Angle, Scott Steiner, and it was supposed to be reform the main event Mafia to take on Immortal. But of course, Kevin Nash and Booker T left for WWE.
Even though Kevin Nash isn't really there, supposedly he's the anonymous Raw general manager from an interview that I read.
Oh, well, I'm not going to say anything about that because that could be anywhere. But, the match was okay. I mean, I was happy to see Matt Morgan get the win over Scott Steiner because he needed that. Because if they were going to let Scott Steiner win that match, if they were just going to bury Matt Morgan.
A part of me wanted to see Steiner win because, you know, I'm digging the chainmail. Anyone who wears chainmail has my respect, and he's been rocking that since
WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the olden
For
days.
people who don't know, WCW is a defunct company bought by the WWE.
Which will soon be the new TNA.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I do not remember this match at all.
I remember this match. I mean, it had a good back and forth, a good ending. I mean, probably one of the better endings because Matt Morgan did get a clean finish over Scott Steiner, hit him with the carbon footprint, which a lot of people didn't believe that was his finisher, but yes, the carbon footprint is one of his finishers.
Huh.
The second being the Hellevator.
That's what I was thinking of.
You're thinking of the Hellevator.
Yeah. See, I don't...
See, they actually know how to
it's been a while.
They actually know how to give good names to their, finishers. Unlike the Attitude Adjustment or the STF.
Or the Wasteland from Wade Barrett.
Oh god, the Wasteland's a terrible move.
Hey, at least we got Ezekiel Jackson's power slams.
But, yeah. So, but it was a good back and forth match. Scott Steiner did help get Matt Morgan over, which is good. Because Matt Morgan needs to be over right now. I mean, he had a good push for the title, but then they kind of buried him back. But they're trying to push him up again, so that's really good.
Overall score for this match?
I probably give this one probably like a 5-6. Around there. It was a good match, but it could have went a lot better, in my opinion.
Middle of the road for me, about a 5. A lot of physicality, but other than that, it's just kind of on and off. Again, the finish was kind of meh to me.
I'd probably give this a 5 too. If I would, I'd say this should have been the first match of the pay-per-view, not the tag team championships.
No, I'll tell you what the first match should have been. Fucking knockouts match.
I'm disagreeing with you because if it's for a belt, I think it should be at least higher up on the card. But then again, we are talking about the knockouts match, so yeah, I'm on the fence with you there. Moving on.
I always like to go back and forth, like non-title, title, non-title, title, big feud, usually like next to last over the main title, something like that.
Yeah, not like this fucking pay-per-view.
This is kind of, you'll see, it's kind of all over the place where they put everything. This is the problem I have with this pay-per-view. Among many others, you'll see.
It's TNA, how can you not have problems with it?
Okay, next match is a 3-way match for the TNA X Division Championship, or as the championship holding the title now, it's the Extreme Championship?
Yes, Abyss calls the Extreme.
Yes, it was Abyss versus Kazarian and Brian Kendrick.
Brian Kendrick! Woo!
We're back in WWE, he was the Brian Kendrick.
I'm the man with the plan.
Fucking shining wizard, sliced bread. I love Brian Kendrick. He has a place in my heart.
You got that?
He smokes pot, that's why. That's the only reason you like him.
That's not the only reason.
But yes, let's talk about the match now. So you got, I mean, that was an okay match, but I hated the finish of the match. In my opinion, Abyss should have lost that title. He does not deserve to hold the X Division title. They're just trying to drag this feud on right now, and I'm not liking it.
Feud with who? Who's he feuding with?
Because he's feuding with the X Division.
What X Division? What, all 4 of them?
That's kind of funny because they only showed 4 of them. I mean, I know AJ's still there and Samoa Joe and Daniel, that we haven't seen in a while, but they're too busy feuding with other people and to do other things, so there's really no X Division. You got what? Generation Me, which they're good, but they're not pay-per-view worthy matches.
That's something you put on a marquee, though.
Amazing Red might get the boot next. And you have Kazarian, and you have Brian Kendrick. They should have gave that belt to Kendrick. Because he needs the push right now. Because they're building him up. He deserves the belt right now. Instead of Abyss. The Abyss is just going to crap all over that belt.
And Kendrick's got like an R-Truth thing going on where he's like talking to himself and shit during the match.
Except he doesn't have the little jimmies.
Yeah, he did no little jimmies. TNA doesn't have enough money to afford an orphanage. But this match was basically Kazarian and Kendrick trying to wail on Abyss as much as they could. And A for effort. They were doing a good job for a majority, with the occasional hiccup now and then.
Well, yeah. But like, I didn't like the finish. I didn't like the way that Abyss won that match too. Basically, what it was it Kendrick doing something to Kaz, and Abyss just pulls him out and gets the pin.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big fan of that.
It's one of those finishes, yeah.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of it.
Never liked those. It builds up. It's established for building a heel, but for something like this, where you want maybe, like for your first time for the X Division, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't he win that? Because is that like his first title defense with that, or something like that, on a pay-per-view?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
This is, on the pay-per-view, yes. This is his second title defense because he had one against Kaz, the rematch clause they had. I'm hoping at the next pay-per-view, which is supposed to be at Destination X, which is supposed to focus on the X Division. This was one of the things Mick Foley left before he left the company, which many people don't know that, but yes, he left the company. Just shortly after
changing the name of the show from TNA to Impact Wrestling.
And
it still says TNA on the pay-per-view card.
He just had a storyline built around him where he was the person giving information to the network about all this stuff, and he was the one who orchestrated Sting getting Sting back and all this other stuff. But then, like, I don't know, I guess he just couldn't work with Hogan or Bischoff, or he felt like he could do better, or I think they were going to make him wrestle again. Which I have to give my props to Mick Foley. He's one of those guys who doesn't want to wrestle again. He's done all he can do. He won titles. He did everything.
He's a family man. He's a father. I wouldn't blame him for not wanting to wrestle.
It's a young man's game. He doesn't want to hold anybody down. Like a lot of these other
unlike some people.
Yeah.
Jarrett.
Jeff, when we get to that match, I'll talk about him.
We'll get to him.
But this X Division match, it was a good match. I hated the finish, so I probably give it a 5 on that one. Good match, but a crappy finish.
I'm gonna give it a 6 for what Kazarian and Brian Kendrick do. I think I'd almost go 7.
I'm giving it a 4 because fucking Kendrick, you need to go for the knees. But besides the point, I think Kendrick should have won. Not a fan of the finish. Overall, it was an okay match. Moving on.
For the 6-sided ring, I think they could would have probably rated it a lot higher. I think I think you guys might have liked it a little more.
Yeah.
If the X Division wrestlers are able to do what they can do with 6-sided rings.
Well, supposedly the next pay-per-view, Destination X, they're bringing back the 6-sided ring.
Really?
Yes, but I guarantee it's only for a pay-per-view. They're not going to let it
That's stupid,
go.
Though. Well, it's probably one of those things where it's like the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Or the Ultimate X match with the briefcase.
See, I think one of the reasons why they're bringing back the 6-sided ring is because when they do Ultimate X matches, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
A lot of their stuff was built around that 6-sided ring. Not a 4-sided.
That's how they fucking started. I think.
Well, they started with a 4-sided, and then they built into the 6-sided, which really got them on the map, because the X Division stars could really do all types of crazy things.
I'm still waiting for a circle. But that's just... Because, fuck, if UFC can do it, then why not a fucking wrestling brand? But
the Octagon. 8-sided.
There you go.
Step it up a notch.
So, what do we got next here on the card?
Next match was, Crimson versus Samoa Joe in a singles match.
Samoa Joe.
I like Samoa Joe. If anybody called that botch, Christy Hemmings had called him Samoa Joa.